Hi Art Nerds, this is the TLDR version of My Life with ADHD for Kickstarter. The longer version was recorded first, but it's actually going to come out later this week. So if you like kind of rambly ADHD talk, that one is for you. If you want something shorter and more concise, this one is for you. So I am currently kickstarting the second volume of 7-Inch Kara. You can check it out at 7inchkara.com/Kickstarter. That is the short link. It'll be in the description, it'll be in the cards, it'll be in the end cap. I would love it if you guys would take a moment to check it out before we dive into the main meat of the video. If you're not familiar with 7-Inch Kara, Kara, the main character, is an 11-year-old, 7-inch tall little girl who is coded to have ADHD. And I wrote her to be a really positive representation of ADHD. So a lot of what I liked about myself growing up, or what I like about my ADHD friends, has gone into Kara. So she's outgoing, she's gregarious, she's very adventurous, she's a little bit impulsive. So you might see a little bit of yourself in Kara. So if you have ADHD, or if someone you love has ADHD, and you'd like to give them the gift of some positive representation for once, please consider backing 7-Inch Kara on Kickstarter. Volume 2 should be out in the mail before December, so it can make a great December gift. So that's kind of why I am talking about this today. I am not new to Kickstarter, although this is my first personal project. I've backed loads of different projects, about 72 of them. Most of them have succeeded, a few have not, and a few have gone on to become phoenixes and live again. And I've also been in about 10 different Kickstarter anthology projects. So I have a lot of experience with Kickstarter, but not necessarily as the one driving the car. And this being the first Kickstarter where I'm actually the one in the driver's seat, I had a lot of really unique experiences, many of which I think were colored by having ADHD. And I talk about that a lot more in the Rambly blog. Today, I just kind of want to share some of my top tips for how you, as somebody with ADHD, can succeed on Kickstarter, or at least launch it, because I know for many of us, just getting to that point is already a huge accomplishment, since we're sometimes great at starting things, terrible at finishing things, and sometimes we're terrible at starting things and terrible at finishing things. So one of the things that made this successful, as far as it has gone, because we're still kickstarting, so who knows what could happen, is that almost all of the work for volume 2 was done before we ever hit the launch button. That means the book was drawn, all the comic pages were drawn, all the comic pages were watercolored, all the comic pages were scanned, color corrected, laid out in the book. The bonus sections were laid out in the book. Most of the guest star gallery was laid out in the book. So the only work I really have left to do is I need to finish drawing 8 4-coma comics. I need to finish adding the names and websites to the guest art gallery. I need to do a little bit of tweaking. And then I have a proof copy of 7-Inch Kara that I ordered from CreateSpace. So I need to make a bunch of corrections based on the flaws that I saw in the proof. And we're not printing volume 2 with CreateSpace. We're going to be printing volume 2 with an offset printer, which means we really need to have our files together before we send it off to print. So I have a list over here, off camera, because I'm ADHD. I want to stay on topic for this one. I'm trying to keep this one 15 minutes long. Let's go for 15 minutes. So my number one tip is do the actual production ahead of time as much as possible, and take photos, capture video while you're doing it, talk about it while you're doing it. Don't make this a surprise. You guys who follow my other work, you're probably sick of hearing about this, but you're still going to have to hear about it because it's still going on. But I didn't want anyone to come to me later and be like, I didn't know. If you choose not to, that's cool, but you're going to know about it. So I did the actual production ahead of time, which allowed me to actually focus on Kickstarter instead of on the book during the Kickstarter. My other number one takeaway is ask for help. I mean, I recommend this for anybody who wants to have a Kickstarter. You need help, you need community support. The more people willing to sing your praises, the better your project's gonna do. But for us ADHD people, we really do need help in a more concrete way. So for example, my fiance did about 50% of the work on the Kickstarter itself. I did not do this alone, and I'm not going to pretend like I did this alone. I had a lot of help, and I was only able to get done what we accomplished with that video. For example, the video is great. It's because of Joseph. I contributed some of the talent, but he's the one who put the time in. He found music that fit. He found motion graphics that looked really good. He spent a lot of time finessing it into something even better than what I could have done by myself. So if you can, get some help for this. And the thing is, you don't have to know someone who's going to help you ahead of time. So there are people who work as Kickstarter consultants. Now, you're going to get, when you launch a Kickstarter, you're going to get a lot of people claiming they're Kickstarter consultants in your Kickstarter inbox. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about find somebody on Twitter who's a comic person who has done a lot of Kickstarter projects as a consultant, or who has had a lot of their own, and who takes on freelance work as a Kickstarter consultant. They can help you out a lot. There are also people who offer copy editing services, many of them specifically for Kickstarter. They can also help you out a lot. Yes, you pay for it, but they have the time and the experience to really help you take your project to the next level, which is important because Kickstarter has so many gorgeous projects. And then if you look at the tech category, everything is like crazy polished because it's done by marketing people, not by tech people. So having some help, nothing wrong with that. You are absolutely not expected to do it on your own. I give you permission to get help. So for the Kickstarter site, you've got two main parts that are really important. You've got the story and you've got the video. And I mean, the rewards are also really important. Don't let me demean that. But the parts we're going to focus on today the most are the story and the video. So what I recommend you guys do, and this is what I did, is find 5 campaigns in your category that you like and look at what they're doing well. I mean, really analyze what they're doing well. Do you like the layout? Do you like the graphics? Do you like how they use the graphics? Do you like that they're telling a story? Do you like how they describe themselves? And then copy those aspects. And follow the Kickstarter style guide. So write in first person, be personable, explain where the money's actually going, introduce yourself and your project. And keep in mind that you need the support of people who are completely new to your work. Figure out why they should care and what makes your project special. Even if you have a big audience, they may not be willing to spend money on your project. You might appeal to people who have never heard of you before, especially if you do kind of cross-genre work, like I do comics and I do kidlit comics. So my work appeals to not just comic people, but to people who like kidlit art, and to parents and to grandparents. So it's important for me to try and reach that other demographic, get outside of my comfortable comic circles, especially because my work doesn't do super well within comic circles, but it does really well in the kidlit sphere. I also highly recommend you guys get other people to read over your story and offer feedback. I have a group of friends who are willing to dedicate and donate their time to helping me out with this, and I swear they read over the story like 16 different times. I had my mom read over it, since she's never used Kickstarter before, to kind of give me questions that someone who's new to Kickstarter, who's never done Kickstarter, doesn't really understand Kickstarter, what kind of questions they might have so that I can answer it. I also had her give me questions that a parent might have or an educator might have, since my work is kidlit in all ages, in order to assuage their concerns and maybe attract them to the project. I also had friends read over it, friends who make comics, friends who back comic Kickstarters, friends who are internet savvy, so they could provide some feedback as well. I also sent it to a couple of friends who have had previous campaigns that were successfully funded for their feedback. Preview mode has an option to allow others to comment. I highly recommend you use it. I wasted so much time copying it over into Google Docs, copying in the pictures individually, and then editing all of the spaces that it added in to send it to friends. But preview mode makes it so much easier. And as I said earlier, it's totally okay to hire outside help. There are Kickstarter consultants on Twitter, and there are copy editors who can really help you polish your work. I know one of the big complaints I get is, well, I don't have a group of comic friends. I don't know people. Will you look at my work? There are people on Twitter who charge money to do this. They are happy to do it. They are good at what they do. Take them up on that and pay them what they're worth. So for the video, Joseph wrote a script using script writing software. Do you remember the script writer? Writer Duet. There's a free version and then there's a paid version. He used the free version, and it is really just an outline. It was in order to get some ideas out on paper and to get us started. So he wrote it online. I printed it up because I'm that person, and we made a whole lot of notes. Like, it's covered in notes. It's color coded with highlighters. It's color coded with little cutesy stamps to denote where the scenes are taking place. I numbered the different voiceovers, and so that we could match them up with the voiceovers online. Like I said, it was just an outline to give us direction, and we did a lot of rewriting together, and most of the scenes were originally set inside, and we moved them outside, since outside is a little bit more appealing than this beige box I live in. So even if you're going to change the script a lot, and you know you're going to change the script a lot, having a script is really useful because it's easier to rewrite than it is to write, and then there's always room to improvise if that's important to you. I know a lot of us ADHD people, we want that room for those sparks of inspiration. And even if you have an outline, you can still do that. It doesn't keep that from happening. And keep your video under 5 minutes when you're editing it together. So we did the whole thing ourselves, the whole video ourselves, from recording to editing, and it took about 2 weeks, so give yourself plenty of time to do it. The first scene took about 100 takes to get right, but the last scenes only took 2, and it gets easier as you do it. You start to get a feel for it, you know what your equipment can do, you understand what the limitations of your equipment are. Speaking of equipment limitations, the Kickstarter video, which you guys should go check out if you haven't checked it out yet, it was done pretty much on my Samsung Galaxy S7, which is what I'm recording this on, using a Chinese phone gimbal and a shotgun mic that was originally purchased for the camcorder, and doesn't even, like, the shoe part of it doesn't even plug into my phone, so we had to, like, tape it with blue tape to a monopod. There's also some GoPro footage that we just couldn't use. We captured a lot of footage and didn't use most of it. We also captured a lot of voiceovers using Audition and a small lavalier mic, and every voiceover was recorded at least 5 times. Each time was a very different take with a very different feel, just to give us some choice, and then Joseph kind of cobbled that together into something amazing. So if you're asking other people for help, even if it's just a voiceover, give them plenty of time to get back to you. This goes for feedback. This goes for voiceover. Don't think you can do a whole Kickstarter campaign in 1 day. That might be really tempting, but give yourself at least 2 weeks, ideally longer. I work better with a little bit of pressure, so you know, 2 weeks made me actually get it done, but don't try to cut it short. So for promotion, this is such a big thing. People are not going to natively just know about your Kickstarter. If you don't promote it, people aren't going to come to it. And one of the goals you want to reach is to become a project Kickstarter loves. And to do that, you need certain things. You need a video that's high enough quality. You need a well-written story. You also need to raise about 30% of your funds in the first 2 days. So 7-Inch Kara Volume 2 is a project that Kickstarter loves, and we had to put a lot of work into it to get it there. So for promotion, I really recommend you work with your strengths. And let me tell you guys, this is a long game. If you're new to my channel because of the My Life with ADHD thing, I have been part of the comic community for a really, really long time, and I have been making resources and assets and teaching classes for a really long time. I've done the blog, natasoup.blogspot.com for 10 years. I've done this YouTube channel for 4 years. I was part of How to Be a Con Artist on Tumblr for 4 years. I was in I was a co-founder of Inkdrop Cafe for 3 years before we founded the Paint Box, which is my art Discord server. I've been on Twitter for 10 years. I have been in art communities and involved in art communities for a long time. So don't think you can just start using social media like the week before you launch your Kickstarter. You really have to sow those seeds. And my recommendation for that is to just be really genuine. Post your art and talk to other people. And don't just talk only to the senpais with the most followers who you admire. Talk to people at your own level, because you're going to grow together. And that's something I see small and medium-sized artists butt their heads up against a lot. I leave a lot of kind comments on people's art because I love seeing people's art, and I like just saying kind things to them. It makes my day better. And you wouldn't believe how few people actually respond with even a thank you. So, and that thank you could be the start of us having a friendship. So, it's that kind of that feedback. Engage with the people who engage with you. Be kind to others and reach out to others who are at the same level as you, and do it consistently for a long period of time, because this is a reap what you sow situation. And if you never sow any seeds of kindness, there's going to be nothing for you when you need help. So, work with your strengths, work with social media platforms you already frequent. So I use Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram a lot. So that's where most of my promotion is, but it's not where all my promotion is. Ask friend groups who know and trust you to help and to signal boost and support your work. Don't be embarrassed to ask for boost, to ask for help from people you know and trust. It's a little weird to reach out to total strangers who you never talk to and be like, hey, can you signal boost this? Because, like, that's the other side of the coin, is like I'll get DMs from people who've never talked to me asking me to back their project. I will happily signal boost people who talk to me. But if you're a stranger, I'm not that kind of a Twitter account. I'm not just a promote other people Twitter account. And I think most comic artists on Twitter are the same way. So if you put in the time and you form a relationship, people are way more willing to support and signal boost your work. And market towards the media you create and the demographic you already have. So, like, let's say you're working on a D&D inspired comic. You might want to partner up with a dice maker. They might be more than happy to give you a few signal boosts. You might want to contact a couple of D&D podcasts to see if they'll give you a shout out. And don't take it personally if people say no. Often it really boils down to they didn't have time in the schedule during your Kickstarter. Something else is if they can't fit you in during your Kickstarter, I think you should still say yes. I've been saying yes to after the fact because I'm still trying to build myself. Like, even though I've done all this work, I'm still trying to have a larger audience. I'm trying to attract more people who will enjoy the work that I do. And I like talking to people and I like doing collaborative things. So, like, even if it doesn't directly benefit my Kickstarter, it still makes me feel good. And I still might reach new people who would enjoy my work. So set up events to keep excitement and promotion up without sounding repetitive. I don't want to spoil too many of the events that I have planned for the 7-inch Carrot Kickstarter. You can find out about them on Twitter and through the community tab. But I have events planned all through the month to keep people excited. And not just live streams, but other kinds of events. In fact, I wanted to do in-person events as well, just a couple, to meet new people and to attract people who might not use Kickstarter at all to maybe give it a try. But due to COVID, that's just a really bad idea. So we're keeping it all online. But if you are not that kind of person, if you've never done that before, I would recommend brainstorming other ways that you can help generate interest. I also highly recommend you schedule your stuff in advance, especially if you're super busy. Twitter now offers the ability to schedule. YouTube community tab allows you to schedule, and the business portal of Facebook allows you to schedule for Facebook and Instagram. And this is particularly important for me because I'm getting married to Joseph in a couple of weeks. And I don't know, pro tip, maybe don't plan a wedding and a Kickstarter at the same time. I don't know. Or do it. Because, like, if you reach that, like, everything's going great, you're, like, coasting on a super high. But maybe don't. Being able to schedule is really important because internet access in rural Louisiana is not great. I cannot rely on Cox Cable. So I need to schedule what I can ahead of time, which is not always feasible because some of this I'm generating as I'm going. But I've scheduled what I could ahead of time so I don't have to remember every day, oh, hey, you need to post something. Also, you should take advantage of hashtags that are applicable and are on trend. So, like, right now, while I'm kickstarting Kara, there's all kinds of small artist hashtags going around for people under 10K, which I didn't think 10K, under 10K was small, but okay. And there's also, like, portfolio day going on, and there's tags for, like, visible women, etc. So there will probably be art events or art tags going on when you're kickstarting. If you have stuff relevant to it, post it to those tags and you might get some new eyes. And also in that regard, comment on the work other people are sharing. That's super big. Not only does it just generate feelings of friendship and it allows you to meet new people, but they may check out your Twitter page, they might like your art, and they might decide to back, or they might give you a signal boost. So don't do it expecting anything in return, just do it because it's the right thing to do, but sometimes it does reward on the back end. And even if you're super busy, don't go radio silent. Continue to share art. This may mean you have to hold back some of your art before the Kickstarter launches so that you have new stuff to share. I know it is a really, really busy time and you're probably super stressed out. I always keep some art that I don't share just for times like this, that I have something new. So my main takeaways are legit. Work with the skills and strong points you have. Don't try to copy somebody else. As somebody with ADHD, you have unique strong points. Like for me, for example, when my depression and my anxiety aren't kicking my butt, I am a really outgoing, friendly, gregarious person. I have a big personality. Some people love it, some people hate it. So that's just who I am. So instead of like trying to pretend like I'm somebody else, I'm just going to lead into it. I love cottagecore and I am loud. I am the loudest thing in the forest. And it's okay to ask for help. Don't let other people it's real easy to look at the internet and think everything that's on the internet is exactly the way it went down. But most people have help. A lot of people who are successful have support systems in place, and don't be afraid to reach out to somebody and help. Like for example, on my blog, I am happy to run creator spotlights for Kickstarter. I usually ask those creators to make a tutorial or something to make it a little more interesting to my readers than just a regular ad. But if you reach out to me, I am happy to share my space with you. Now, am I going to reach out to you? If we're really good friends, I will. But otherwise, no, because I've had some people be really rude to me about it and be like, your blog doesn't, it doesn't mean anything. Nobody reads it. And then like a week later, like, can you give me a spotlight? So I don't reach out because I've had some bad experiences, but I pretty much unilaterally say yes, as long as your work is safe for work, is not graphically violent, is not sexist, and does not hurt women or trans people or non-binary people or marginalized groups. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as long as you're a good faith actor, I will probably be happy to share the space I've created with you. So don't be afraid to reach out to people for help, because like in terms of like promoting your Kickstarter, that's content for them too. And if you can make it like a tutorial, or you can make it something more than just like a plug, they're way more likely to say yes. So I've been reaching out to different podcasts, not just comic podcasts, but like art supply podcasts. And who knows, maybe they'll say yes, maybe they'll say no, but I'm at least trying to get my work out there. I'm asking for help. So those are my tips for running a Kickstarter if you have ADHD. I hope they were hopefully useful and informative. And if you want something longer and more rambly and less to the point, you can enjoy the follow-up My Life with ADHD Kickstarter video as well. It could be like good background music. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I wish you the best of success with your own Kickstarter projects, and I hope you guys will check out 7-Inch Kara on Kickstarter right now. Again, that's 7inchkara.com/Kickstarter. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Bye!